Panthers early history and so forth. The 49ers, that was one of those Mount Rushmore teams. So, you always had a little more excited because, it was like playing them or Dallas or, Washington, formerly known as the Redskins, the Commanders. Like those times kind of had a little extra sauce and juice to it. And the reason why I feel I have that little just tingle in me is because we're on a Monday night and it's a meaningful football game. Both teams need the victory. It's kind of one of those measuring stick type of games, kind of let you know, give you a barometer of where you're at right now. And after a great performance last week, and I know that that was last week, that should give some hope and also exploit some of their mismatches. Mind you, they are banged up just like we are. So I am truly and totally excited. I'm really on the positive NDs of thinking that we could win this game. I'm out on. I'm really coming out and saying that we're winning the game. But they call me the opportunistic, very optimistic Panther fan. So you don't have to take much weight on me saying that the Panthers are going to win. But I do believe that when it's all said and done, we can, and I'm hoping that we do. I know that we send more rig from all different types of directions, to be quite honest. But I think we're gonna need a little something a little more elaborate. Also, like you're gonna still send more rig, but you're gonna have to find some pressure coming from another direction. I mean, we're taking on Mike Shanahan, people, and Shanahan is one of them guys that's very dangerous. And when you're talking about you got a veteran like CMC, who one sees a lot of different blitz looks and have had to see a lot of packages himself, even from playing with us to being a focal point of the 49ers team of success as of recent or whatever, he's seen a lot of looks. Purdy's been there also. He's seen a lot of looks. These people are in sync with each other, proving the point. Mac Jones plugged in and put up production also. So it lets you know that within that offense, even with an offensive line that has not been great this year, they have figured out how to still put up offense and put up enough offense to be in the race. And you got to think about it; they're in a very hard division, and they're still in it. Clearly, still in it with the Rams and the Seahawks. So they're at home. It's a Monday night. That game means something to them. We can't come in like when I say slow. I don't mean point production. I mean we can't come in slow on like what we really need to do. Like we can't be late on getting pressure. We can't just like let them have like once we see clearly that Purdy has one or two possessions where he's just getting to stand there for however long he needs. You've got to find some pressure for somewhere. Even if you got to experiment with some guys, if you got to rotate some guys, if you got to change some looks, you're gonna have to do it. Because see, what bails this offense out in particular is George Kittle. Because if Purdy can stay on his feet long enough, George Kittle just knows how to find his way open. Kind of like a Kelsey effect, to one degree. That those guys, if their quarterback has the ball long enough and he can find the opportunity to find them, he's gonna find them. He's gonna give him something to present to him. So the main thing is really getting Purdy off his mark. If we dominate those trenches like you just said earlier, and really kind of can get some pressure within those four guys, like I'm gonna tell you now, I'm gonna be even more confident to be quite honest with you, dudes, because now if they're getting significant pressure, we can survive with more coming from different directions and so forth of that nature. So I'm excited just for it, but what I'm more excited is how can I put this? This new Bryce. Or is there a new Bryce? Like it's like are we about to see like did this game last week now take us into the stratosphere of like now we're about to get like what they were saying when they drafted him, Bama Bryce, the Bryce that is, supposed to be this ball to Steph Curry of quarterbacks and so forth, distributing the ball all over the place. Like, I'm excited. Like, don't get me wrong. Like we said earlier off camera, if he gives me half, just half of what he did last week, and especially no turnovers. If he gives me half and no turnovers, I am highly confident that we can win the game and probably will win the game. Like that's one thing I'm willing to stand on. I feel like if we don't have one single turnover in that game, we win that game absolutely 100% hands down. I just feel that in my spirit. I really do. But also, like I was saying, the balance of the running game and now just at least now exploring new passing concepts with Bryce Young. If you can get that mixture and that blend together, that we can really start to balance things out, which I feel like you got to keep building to. And that's one thing I saw with Dave last year when Bryce started to turn it on last year. It kind of seemed like each game he was kind of adding another phase. If Bryce started off good, he might pull back just a little bit until Bryce got back in rhythm, and then he would let it open back up. But now you got a running game where Chuba's looking a little more fresh. I believe he admitted that he came back a little bit too early or whatever, so that kind of gave some of the result. Shout out to him for even wanting to fight through that like that. I understand, football competition. But then you have Rico Dowdle that's still like making big plays for us. I don't even feel like you should ever look at him as just a stat sheet guy. Yeah, it's great to see what he did with the numbers that he put up and so forth for us this year, but he's at the point for us that the stat sheet is not really going to reflect what he's truly bringing. That play that he ran and he stepped out of bounds. He told them to call that play. So see, there's other elements coming into this thing, and I feel like if they're trusting the players like that, and the players are feeling free enough to really talk about what they see and give the suggestions of what they see, I really feel confident for Monday night because these we have not had a Panther team where we've seen players in like real time taking the initiative for their team. And these guys are really like communicating. The coaches are being very open minded. And you got a star player over there like McCaffrey. And you have a competent quarterback like Brock Purdy. And then you have guys that know how to play their role in San Francisco. They guys know how to play their role. You have to have guys that can take initiative. But Robert Sala, defensive guru Robert Sala. I didn't want to. I don't because I want to bring hope and love and everything. And that's another guy that's why the balance is very more important because you're gonna have to keep those guys off their feet because he's a very disciplined guy in his schemes. And that's why I kept yelling the importance of if there's no turnovers, I guarantee we win this game. Because the 49ers are a momentum team. That's really, especially at home, they really are a momentum team. They can play, and if you look at some of these games this year, they have played like dog water for 3.5 quarters, but has been in the game and then just made the play when they needed to make the play. That Arizona game, for example, they should have lost the game to the Arizona Cardinals. And one dumb play in the fourth quarter changed it to where I think they went to overtime and they won it in overtime. So there's different scenarios, butterfly effects that's caused by just missing, not executing at the moment you need to execute. So when you take those two geniuses, it's almost like we're about to take on like the evil Avengers or whatever, guys that just have their own skill sets or whatever. But I feel like with these Carolina Panthers with Derek Brown really putting a dog along that line and like really just being a dog, and Ashawn Robinson like really being his backup supporting guy of really being overly physical, and Nick Sporting with the effort and to get to, and Princely, like these guys are really following the leader. It's really a testament of Derek Brown, to be quite honest. And for you to beat the 49ers, you have to be physical because really within their schemes and concepts, they're really a physical team. They really like to keep big offensive linemen, push you back, and run the ball. That's a lot of things people don't really give Shanahan credit for. Shanahan really love to run the ball on you. If he could just run it the whole time, he really would. But because he has some toys to play with, giving geniuses toys, you know how that goes. But it's like I said, if we keep a certain level of physicality, if we can start to really consistently overwhelm that offensive line, I just truly feel that we will be in a good spot. And I know I gave a lot of ifs and I gave a lot of whats, but at the end of the day, I can give the ifs and the whats because I have supreme belief. These guys have shown me that it doesn't matter who the opponent is, they're willing to fight. They're trying to change the reputation. They're trying to change the culture. They're trying to change the look. So I'm thinking maybe the first drive and a half might be shaky for us. And I feel from that point, we're going to clamp down, and it's going to be a heck of a football game, D. The lighthouse, like when you see the vision, when you actually see that vision, and you start to see like how everything falls in place, and everybody else around you might not see how like it's just falling and how it's trickling down, and you might feel like you're the only person in the world that really sees, but you're not. You're not. And there's a lot of people that don't speak because they don't want to get like just overwhelmed by like the negativity and the just how it sweeps through. But like when you see that vision, makes me picture like that boat that has been in that long, long journey. I mean, like not that the era of GPS, we fly in sails and everything else, and you have traveled over and you travel, and all you're trying to do is get to some land, lay down on actual land, and actually just have some kind of firm foundation within your situation, and then you start to see that light. And then by that light, you can kind of gauge and you can kind of see like, okay, I ain't got much longer. I don't have much longer. And then I sit here and you blend that into those humble beginnings, and like the team is just hasn't been the quality of football that we would have desired in a fan base. But then you hire Dan Morgan. And then when you get Dan involved, and Dan was like, okay, this might be my homeboy, but we work well together. And this dude, I believe, can motivate others. I've watched him motivate these guys. Let me talk to Dave. Let's take this guy. So now there goes the other vision. They plugged him in. They talk Dave now. Now he's like this. We got Canales now. We got Canales. All right. So now they sitting there like, well, you know what, boss? You know what? I really know the football. And I really know the talent, and I really know the scouting and all that, right? But man, this money really got me bothered. The money, look, I can do it all, but there's not enough hours in the day, man. And if you really want me to get this football back right, I need some help, man. Boom, boom, boom. Here comes Brant Tillers. Here comes Megamind. And as soon as Megamind came into the equation, you started seeing the little labels of of like division because you saw how the contracts were structured. You started seeing like it was more of a prove it contract, but you're gonna get your worth, but you're gonna prove it also. And we saw how like with a Trooper Hubbard who laid it on the line for a year that most people knew was going to be a garbage year to a degree. And he put his body on the line and he was rewarded. He was rewarded for that. Icky kept putting in the work even in a season that they knew was a throwaway season. He put in the work. Moten, who's been a rock for this team for so many years. So many years. And, he was a rock there. And then you start looking, that's when, you start to see the waves get a little bit lower. And you can start to see the ground a little bit more. Like now you're sitting here like, okay, you know what? They drafted Xavier Leggett. That was a weapon, okay? That one might take a minute. That one might take a minute for it to get to where we need that to be. Okay, hold up. They say there's something called a Nilo. There's a Nilo. Oh, as soon as they start even thinking about a Nilo, they thinking about the grill that they about to set up on that land over there as they get ready to start roasting out some of that fish they done caught along their journey. So then they see there's a Nilo. And they see that, oh, so many teams are passed on a Nilo. They didn't need a Nilo. But he's looking at this Nilo and going like, you know what, you was probably a top three, top four, top pick type of guy. Hey, Nilo, oh, you like Bryce Young? Oh, you want to rock with Bryce Young? You know what? Come on, Nilo. You know what? I like you. Hold up. At your draft party, you having praise and worship? Oh, we got us a good plot? Hey, brother, you come on over here right now. You sit down. So then as we go on the journey, Dave looking at Dan, we got to have something on defense, Dan. All the fan base thought that we was going like the Walker kid and we was going to go defense. Dan, what we doing? Hey, chill out, bro. That's why they give me the big bucks. And he went out there and he went and got Nick Stewart, who, on anybody's grading block, on anybody's grading table, that dude's a first round talent. sitting in the second round. Boom. Then we make a little razzle dazzle. We get two edge rushers. You get two extraordinary edge rushers. They played in the best conference in football and in college. Okay. So now you take that and then you accompany that with a national champion safety who loves physicality. You give him a running back who can do special teams, kind of got a Swiss Army knife kind of vibe right now in his early years. Then you go get a little young rocket, and then you went and got a kicker who's got more ice in his veins than the last two or three kickers the Carolina Panthers have had on their roster. All of a sudden, while you looking at all of that, the Jacksonville Jaguar game happens. We just weren't quite ready yet, and New England came, sat back, humbled them. We keep fast forwarding, excel, get humbled. Excel, get humble. And that's what happens with a young team. And yes, after all of that, these we 6-5 right now. So, like I keep saying, and probably people get tired of, nobody had on their bingo card when we got to this point of the season that the Carolina Panthers were gonna have 6 wins. We have some people that said we was gonna have 4 wins. We had some people that said we was gonna have 5 wins. We had some people that really and this was kind of a majority. There was a majority that was hovering at 6 to 7 games. There was a lot of people, and those were realistic people. I cannot knock them, but you're looking at how many games we have left. We have 6 wins, and even when you think of the rough, you would have thought that the rough shores was really the look at this point of the year of the Rams and the Seahawks and how rough and torrentuous that this schedule had been. Like, well, that's what it's going to be. But that wasn't the see that's the thing. It comes from perspective. That wasn't the rough part. See, we had to get the clam chowder mollywopped out of us in New England. You see what I mean? We had to get the buffalo wings firing through us when Buffalo came to our crib and stomped on us, okay? We had to lose that Saints game. And I know that Saints game hurt. And when the long scale of this season, when it's over with, people will not talk about that Saints game if they can help it, okay? But all of that these guys had to go through, what did we get? Let's see. One of the best running back performances of the season for totality has came out of Rico Dowdle. Okay. We have young Nilo leading all rookies in receiving yards, I believe, in catches. And I think he's in third in for touchdowns, I believe, in rookie receivers, which that's 1 game, 2 games. You can get that easily. If it falls, it doesn't matter or whatever. You take it like this. Let's see. Bryce Young broke records. Nalo has a great chance of being a offensive rookie of the year. I would challenge that maybe possibly Nick Scorton could possibly go up for a defensive rookie of the year. I really think that he should at least be in the conversation. I'm not just going to sit there and just push that he's not. Also, when you look at it, we're going to have guys that's going to be Pro Bowlers, people. And on top of that, people said that we needed Bryce Young to have a game to show that he could lead this Carolina Panthers. And I know that we live in a society where, the goalpost is going to move. I know it. I'm not new to that, all right. But he gave you the signature game. He gave you a record with the signature game. And he gave you that story that, how I imagine G Baby will tell his grandkids how when Bryce had the ankle sprain and the team didn't know what they were gonna do, and they didn't think that Bryce was gonna be able to come back. But old King Bryce, he limped his way back out on that field. His socks was bloody. His ankle was the size of a doggone cantaloupe, and he went out there and threw for 448 yards. He really wanted overtime to go a little bit longer because he had 2 more touchdowns in him, but that's not how overtime is set up. He's already gave you that. Now, imagine this. I want you to think about this, Dees, because I was thinking about this the other day, but I had never really been able to wrap my head around, really asking nobody this question. If Bryce Young, from that last game on, right, performs to half of that or at that level the rest of his career, will your Panthers fan base still remember what we had to go through to get there? Like, if you really sit and think about it, like, people complain everything else, but if this, like, what if this was his evil villain arc? Like, what if this cataclysmic events have happened now, right? That now he becomes a menace of the league for the rest of his career, right? Will people go back to before those moments? Cause like really he's gonna be like the Joker when I'm like, yo, y'all made me this way. Like literally, if you really sit and think about it, if he becomes like to where every team thought Tom Brady was the most arrogant prick, everything else like that and so forth, like you know how they even though I think he was far from it, but you know that's just how they looked at him because of the success. What if Bryce really does turn that thing into a situation? One, I'm gonna be happy because that means we got winning football going on. But like, I really did wonder, like, will people go back to this moment right here? Will they be like, hey, you know, before this, if we would have left this little sucker alone, you know, or whatever, maybe he would have just been happy and content or whatever. Now he's had a taste of blood, and now he's just went crazy. I'm really hoping that he just got a taste of blood and he's about to go crazy. But this is the first time that Cam has validated this man. You know what I mean? That kind of adds his own little aura and boogie into the situation. I think it's kind of helped with some people's acceptance. Listen, I said some. We know how it is, but it really, I just think that now when you're seeing those moments, and a lot of people called it a wholesome moment. So what I hope, like when people see like Cam sitting there with that type of pride, then Bryce had such, you know, wonderful things when they told him about how Cam, you know, spoke on him or whatever. That's another thing that brings Cam closer to the Panther fold, that he can finally get his flowers that he so deserves for what he brought to these Carolina Panthers. So if you're gonna tell me that Bryce Young is gonna keep playing great football and we're gonna get the opportunity to embrace Cameron Newton, I will make up stories for my grandchildren to sell the great Bryce Young. Because now he will have the effect of leading a team and almost acting like as diplomatic as Martin Luther King. I will put it on a t-shirt right now, I'm telling you, man. So I mean it's a beautiful time. But I'm gonna just say this, people. I feel that if we, like we stated earlier in this video, if we stick to our processes, we play our type of football, and they keep the vision what is the vision, which is the football at this time. Dave has said it. Bryce continuously keeps to say it, like what's going on right now, keeping the focus on the football. And I feel like if they do that, we're going to come out of this game a winner. I'm going to say that it's still going to be one of those close nail biters, get you to the edge of your seat. But at the end of the day, when you get up Tuesday morning and you go into the coffee maker or the water cooler or the copy machine, I don't know if they still do all of that now, if they navigate around there. But if y'all still going over there conversating, I feel at the end that yawn, that nap that you're gonna want will be well worth it. And if you ain't with us now, you ain't welcome to the parade. Pound.